David Nixon is joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. David, it's great to have a former NFL and BYU star with us at all times. So thank you for taking time out of your busy day, my friend.
You are so gracious every time I come on. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Let's start with the obvious question. What did you think of the national championship game last night?
Unbelievable. I loved it, every minute of it up until the end. I mean, it was a fantastic game. And you got to give props to Clemson. Overcame 2 turnovers, and they completely dominated Alabama yardage-wise to come up and just Deshaun Watson. I mean, driving down that last drive, calm, poised, and just drove the ball all the way down. Taysom came up to our house. We watched it yesterday together, and we were both debating, what do you do on that last play with 6 seconds left? Do you run up the middle and then hurry and get down and call a timeout? Or do you, we were saying, do you just kick the field goal and go in overtime and to not risk running the 6 seconds out? And then when he went for the sprint out, I was like, man, he better not get caught up and try to juke somebody out and waste the seconds away and the clock go out. But sure enough, great rub route there, ran on the outside and opened wide up and got the touchdown. So awesome game, fun to watch, and kind of fun to see somebody other than Alabama win it.
Yeah.
And then of course Dabo Swinney, his whole story of being an alum at Alabama and winning it now at Clemson, kind of a cool story too. So just football wise, loved it. It was an awesome game.
How will you fill the next 8 months of your life as we wait for BYU and Portland State?
I ask myself that every day now. It's funny because Tate and I were kind of at halftime. We're like, dude, we got to cherish this. We only have 2 more quarters of football, college football, that is, till August. On the bright side, my wife, I told her, I was like, hey, after the game, I go, look, it's over. Like, college football's over until August. She's like, but it's not really over because you got NFL, you've got basketball. And I'm like, yeah, kind of good point. You got about mid-June. you got mid-June and July is what you got. And she's like, all right, I'll take that. So we'll figure something out. Basketball's always a nice transition to kind of ease out of the football style, but it's been a great season. It's been fun watching college football all around. Just the parity that we saw this year, and the playoffs. It was nice to have the college football in on a good game, because if you remember the playoffs, I mean, Bama smacked UW, and then Clemson put it to Ohio State, and those weren't even competitive games. Kind of a boring game. So it was nice to at least have a competitive, good, solid national championship game that we could all watch.
Your wife brings up a great point, because between recruiting and signing day and pro days and the NFL Combine and spring ball, there is a lot to talk about in regard to football, not to mention camp starting up a week early for BYU, because they get that game against Portland State. So we'll worry about the June, July stuff when that happens, right?
I accept.
Okay. What did you think of Kalani Sitake's performance as part of ESPN's MegaCast in the coach's film room?
I thought it was awesome. To be honest, I could only watch like 10 minutes of it because I was watching with some family members, and they're not used to watching film. And if you noticed on one of the screens, they'd always rewind it, kind of like you were watching it like in the film room. And all of a sudden, I had some of the women in the room were saying they're getting dizzy from going back and forth. They're like, we have to change it. But for like the 10 minutes that we did watch it, it was awesome, because I felt like Kalani was almost the central focus of the room, and I felt like all the coaches were looking to him and always asking him questions, and he was kind of the jokester, and everyone was kind of just paying attention to what he said. And I kind of took a step back, and I thought, that's what makes Kalani so great, is he goes into recruits' homes, and he wins over these recruits because they feel how genuine he is and just how great of a guy he is. And a coach, I mean, he showed off his intelligence quite a few times, explained different type of routes and what he would have done. And it seemed like he was the main guy in that room. And you had some coaches, Colorado's coach, who I think won of the Coach of the Year awards.
Yeah.
And now Baylor's coach. And you had some big time schools in there, but I feel like Kalani kind of stole the show, at least for the 10, 15, 20 minutes that we watched it. So it was fun to watch, and once again, his personality comes out, and I think that's what makes everyone grow onto him, especially recruits, as we come around to a very crucial time in the year with recruiting coming up and signing day coming up. It's obviously a really important time, and I think I was thinking the same thing. BYU with that exposure for potential recruits to see that as well. It's huge. And so for Kalani to take time out of his busy schedule to go out there and be part of that was pretty cool.
A lot of recruiting happens starting in like 8th or 9th grade, right? Through a player's senior season. this coaching staff has been in place for a year, so you're still behind the 8 ball a little bit, but it's going to be better than last year when they had like a month, right? So what do you expect with a full year of continuity from this coaching staff on signing day coming up in February?
Well, if there's anything I learned from this coaching staff is they're not afraid to target the big-time recruits. And they first go make sure it's going to be a good fit. But they're not afraid to go after guys that are being offered by USC, Alabama, Ohio State are in the mix. They'll go ahead. BYU will go ahead and throw their hat in the ring and see if we can grab one of those. And I think you're starting to see guys that are decommitting, and you've seen guys that are transferring from big-time universities. And I think the Kalani effect will continue to happen as kids get to know him a little bit, and they trust him, and they see the success that he can have on the field. I mean, if you recruit, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and even on the defensive side of the ball, you see Tanner Mangum coming back now for his junior year, experienced quarterback. You see Ty Detmer, what he's able to do with his offense. And you see how they were able to finish strong last year and the type of schedule they played. And then, of course, as a coach, you're going in there and telling them the type of schedule you're playing next year with LSU, Wisconsin, Utah. I mean, these are all big-time opponents that you're playing on big-time stages. And so, I think independence is helping Kalani, but I think more anything that his personality and who he is what's really going to win over these recruits. And I'm excited to see how they kind of finish out. I think BYU nabs a couple big-time guys that really aren't on the radar right now that at the last minute will kind of switch over their decision because of the Kalani effect and what he's able to do.
BYU will play 13 regular season games next year because of the Hawaii exception with the addition of Portland State. They'll have a warm-up game before they go to LSU and take on the Tigers in that Advocare Texas invite. What will BYU's record be in 13 regular season games?
Hey, I'm going double-digit wins. I think BYU goes 10-3. And I don't think it's super unrealistic. I mean, listen, LSU is going to be LSU. That's going to be tough. That's almost a home game for them. Houston's about 5 hours from Baton Rouge. So that's going to be a tough one. So you mark that one down. I think finally we get the Utes at home. With an experienced quarterback. Utah's a mess with changing out their offensive coordinator every year for the last 30 years, so that's a mess. Then you got Wisconsin here at home. I mean, they're going to be a top 10 program. They face Utah State and Florida Atlantic in their first 2 weeks. Those are going to be automatic wins. They'll probably move up to 5, 6, 7, something like that. They'll be maybe even top 5 by the time they come to Provo. That could be a tough one, but who knows? We can steal that. But I think that Mississippi State game, at Mississippi State, with the way they finished the season as well, and what they put on the table, that could be a tough game. But other than that, I think BYU can roll, and I think if they can put it all together and guys can step in and guys continue to learn this system, I think it could be a special year. I mean, you look at this year and what that defense was able to do with Elisa Tuiaki. I was actually talking to Chad Lewis about this last week. I mean, it was impressive with guys that were kind of playing out of position and didn't really have the depth that we I think everyone hoped for because of injuries. With Travis Tuiloma and some other big-time players going out. Still, with that being said, what the defense was able to accomplish, and then offensively what they were able to do, and how close we were in all the games, and we've talked about that forever, but just the margin of losses, man, you put that all together, I think it matches up for a pretty awesome 2017 season.
I put on the medium-sized. I guess these are the large, not extra. So I can see 10 now through these. In fact, if I put on the extra large ones,
hey,
I see 13. I see 13 through these ones.
I laid it out there, the teams that I think we're going to struggle against, and you look at the rest of the schedule, I think they're winnable games for sure.
Yeah, if you can avoid anything disastrous in September, you got a shot. And as we kind of chronicled earlier in the show, if BYU can get to 10 wins, they have a great shot at finishing ranked, which would be awesome. Which brings us to this, our Twitter question today, David. What will we be saying about BYU football on this day next year?
Oof. That's a 10-win season. You're obviously ranked. I think you're in the top 15. To get to a New Year's Bowl, it's tough these days. But I don't see why BYU couldn't be that team. But here's the thing. This year, there were some games we saw where the ball literally didn't bounce BYU's way, right? I mean, you saw the close losses, and the ball bounces BYU way in one or two of those, and you're playing a New Year's Bowl game. So, if BYU can be a little more fortunate next year, and have that ball bounce their way, and you get into that 10, 11-win season, I think we're looking back on it saying, hey, had a chance to play a big P5 program in one of the New Year's Day bowls. So I'm hoping. I mean, these are these are pretty lofty expectations.
It is January 10th, but we're having fun.
But I crave football, and why not? We just talk about this type of stuff. So, it would be obviously a fantastic season. But listen, I think the bar was set pretty high with what Kalani was able to do this year, and like I said, what the defense was able to do. And I don't see why they don't ride that momentum into the offseason and into next year and see what they can do and try to make it a really special season.
David, great stuff. I'm sure we will be talking to you a lot because there is still plenty of football to talk over the next 3 to 4 months in a roundabout way. Also, when the snow melts, let's play golf.
100%. Always in for that.